2 weeks ago, I went to the beach on Fire Island with some friends. The minute I got out in the waves, I was like taken by this one wave that threw my body in one direction and my shoulder in another, and just sort of like really put my arm in a unfavorable twist that subluxated my shoulder. I know everyone's probably heard of a dislocated shoulder, and that means that the ball and socket shoulder joint, the ball is fully pulled out of the joint and it has to be replaced back in the joint. A subluxation is a destabilization of the joint, and that simply means that the joint has been traumatized and pulled apart but not fully dislocated. Okay, so when you injure an area like the shoulder joint, the first thing you want to do is immobilize the joint. Ideally you want to use a sling, and that's going to keep you from using the joint and give it time to heal. Also, what we want to do is we want to stop the inflammation process. Alright, so ice, applying ice to the area for about 20-30 minutes at a time for the first 72 hours following an injury like this is usually a good choice. We also want to use some anti-inflammatories like ibuprofen, and that's what I did. I took about 600 milligrams of ibuprofen every 6 hours while I was going through that first 72-hour, 3-day period of time when I was trying to stop that inflammation process. After you're starting to feel better, you want to do some exercises to strengthen the rotor cuff muscles. Those are the muscles around the joint, and to help stabilize and reseat the shoulder joint in place. I'm going to show you a few of those exercises today. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do external rotation, and I've got a rubber tube, and I'm putting a towel between my body and my elbow. Alright, the key is I want to stand up nice and straight, keeping the elbow by my side here, and I'm going to rotate at the shoulder joint outwardly. External means I've got resistance as I move externally, outwardly, away from the body. That's external rotation at the shoulder joint. We want to do about 3 sets of 10 of these. And then we're going to do internal rotation. And to show you that, I'm going to switch arms so I don't have to change position. But for internal rotation, what I'm doing is I've got resistance as I move medially toward the center of the body. Alright, so I'm starting here, got the towel between the body and the elbow, rotating in toward the body with resistance. And again, we want to do about 10 of these. We do about 3 sets. And you need to sort of listen to your body here. If you're experiencing a lot of pain with this, you might need to rest some more before you start doing this rehab. Okay. Another thing I like to do is I like to do a rear delt fly, and this one really helps strengthen the rear delts behind here and loosen that up and really help me feel a lot better with this. So for this one, we're going to start with the arm outstretched. We're going to come back just like that. Now, as I began to feel better, I noticed that a lot of the muscles around the rotor cuff and the shoulder were really tight. So I also found that as soon as I was able to get back into a regular lifting program, that was good to help loosen those muscles up. But it was important for me to not start with the same weights that I was lifting before the injury. So like with the lat pull downs or tricep extensions, what I found was I needed to really cut back on the weight, focus on the range of motion, and just let my body benefit from beginning to work those muscles out again. And I found that that's really helped me to restore range of motion. Now I've got pretty much in this shoulder, you can see, after about 2 weeks, complete range of motion. almost completely, well, it is completely pain-free. There's a little tightness at some of the end ranges, but I think that's pretty good rehab for a 2-week period, and it's going to get better. I've got about 90% of my strength back. So it's important to listen to your body and follow those steps when you injure yourself. Rest, take care of the area, let it heal. But as soon as it's starting to feel better, don't continue to favor it, but you need to actually do some work to get those muscles strong and get that joint seated in place. And you're going to feel better a lot quicker. And I hope that helps if you have a shoulder injury. Thanks a lot. Remember, it's important when you experience an injury like this, if it's at all possible, to go to a doctor and to follow his advice. I'm not a medical professional, I'm a trainer, but this is an injury that occurred to me when I was on a remote island and I didn't have access to medical advice. And sometimes these things happen and we have to learn to take care of ourselves. And this was the approach that I used and it worked very well, and I want to share it with you.